Hello, BookTube. My name's Violette. Thank you for joining me, and welcome back if you've been before. Tonight, I'd like to just briefly discuss a book I've read, but also the movie that was made years later about it as well. So it is called The Whale Rider. I've got this lovely little penguin edition. It's a very short book. It's by Witi Ihimaera, a New Zealand author, a Maori author, and I really like this book. Let's just, I'll just put it out there. I think it's a fantastic book. It's got a few different perspectives that it's told from, and compared to the movie, I should also say the movie compared to the book, they're both fantastic, but very different. So the movie took quite a lot of departures from the book and changed things, including names, which seems a small thing, but also major characters were inserted and some taken away. So, but I do highly recommend reading the book first, because that's the original story and it's really well written. And then follow it up with the movie, which is what I did a couple of days later, not straight away. So it's about a girl. In the book, she's called Kahu. In the movie, she's called Pai or Paike or Paikea. I should have written that one down. But anyway, so Kahu in the book, and she really feels an affinity for her culture. She feels an affinity for her grandfather, even though in the book, her koro, she calls Paka, and her grandfather's wife also calls him Paka, which in Maori means bugger. So, but it's done in a very nice way, but also with a tinge of seriousness behind it, because he's a very serious man and he's quite angry in the book, very standoffish. In the book, he doesn't show affection towards Kahu at all, right up until just the very end of the book. Whereas in the movie, he's given a lot more nuance. You can sort of see his point of view a little bit, but he's affectionate with his granddaughter in the movie, at least a little bit, but he's still very cross with her. He's still mad at her for trying to be something that, in his eyes, from his cultural perspective, she has no right to be going into. It's all men's business. So in the book, there are several perspectives. We have the perspective of Kahu's uncle. He's actually the main narrator of the story here, and their interactions. Then we also have the ancient Wales perspective. So the one that's part of the storyline throughout. There are very short chapters. I wouldn't even call them chapters, a few pages, but the whale makes an appearance throughout the book. Very interesting to see. And also another aspect that's different for the movie is, in the movie, the aspect of whaling isn't brought up, whereas in the book it is. And and also the pot of whales, I don't know if this is going to be a spoiler. If it's a spoiler, maybe just pause it for a second. But the pot of whales that gets stranded on the beach, there are very few in the movie, whereas in the book it states there are 200, which is absolutely catastrophic and a real tragedy. So yeah, it was hard to wrap my head around the major changes they made for the movie. I was expecting there to be differences, but there were some quite drastic ones, I would say. What I did love about the movie was you get that real sense of place, you get the beauty, you get the the quietness of the place as well, because it's set by the sea and the countryside, a much more laid back lifestyle, set in the 80s, I believe it was, or at least that's when he wrote it. And you get a sense of the girl Kahu or Pai in the movie, that she has something within her that's really going back through the generations, because through their family line, going all the way back to the original people that came from Waiheke, and the story of the whale, but also of a female leader, or rather she rose to the occasion so that her people wouldn't drown. And yeah, so I don't know, I don't want to go too long on about it, but I definitely highly recommend reading it. If you've never read anything or from a New Zealand author, or you've never been to New Zealand before, I think this is a good starting point, because it does give some of the history of the Maori people and their struggles in the day there when Witi Ihimaera wrote this book. And I'm sure that they are still continuing to struggle, what I've seen in the news this year, where they're trying to take, the government's trying to change the treaty, the words of the treaty, in detriment to the Maori, which is a real tragedy. This has been a document that's been upheld as best as possible and supported by, I believe, the majority of people. And yeah, so I don't want to end on a sad note, but yes, fantastic book, which actually I did mark 2 places I should read them to you. They're very, very short. They're just a line or 2, but it's just what stood out to me in memory. So so the first one is just on page 60, and leading up to this very short sentence, they're talking about back in the day when they were whaling, killing the whales, that as soon as they saw a pod out there, they'd drop everything, head out in their longboats. And then it says, I can still remember seeing everyone climbing the lookout like white balloons. I followed them, and far out to sea I saw a herd of whales. The rain fell through his words. They were the most beautiful sight I had ever seen. So that was the line that I loved. The rain fell through his words. Beautiful, poetic. And the other one is on page 124. There were a few more, but I'll just stick to 2 today. Let me see, this was... Actually, I might read a little bit longer, because it is rather nice. I will never forget the look on Kahu's face. So this is her uncle taking up the narrative again. She was gazing out to sea, and it was as if she was looking back into the past. It was a look of calm, of acceptance. It forced us all to turn to see what Kahu was seeing. The land sloped away to the sea. The surface of the water was brilliant green, blending into dark blue and then a rich purple. The illuminated cloud was seething above one place on the horizon. All of a sudden, there was a dull booming from beneath the water, like a giant door opening 1,000 years ago. At the place below the clouds, the surface of the sea shimmered like gold dust. Yeah, so that one about the dull booming from beneath the water, like a giant door opening 1,000 years ago. I love that. That sort of writing, that's why I read that sort of writing. It's the stories, of course. I love stories, the storytelling, and learning new things and meeting new people, that sort of thing. But it's writing of that quality that I really enjoy. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for staying with me. If you have all this way through the video, if you'd like to leave a comment about if you have read the book or if you've seen the movie or just one or the other, let me know what you thought of it. If you liked it, if you didn't, or but yeah. So I'll say bye for now. I'll see you next time. Bye.